So, yesterday I found out that, don't worry, it's nothing, what I'm about to say really isn't anything bad at all or anything negative or by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that, well, one of the, actually, you know what, I'll tell you in a second. First things first, good morning, happy Saturday, everybody. So, yesterday, I read yesterday's One Piece manga chapter, and at the time, I didn't really think it was bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, see, when you read a manga like One Piece over the span of as many years as I have really have been paying attention to it since around 2009, 2010, roughly that area. You're going to find yourself in what's called the mid-arc slump. It's basically that, it's long, and, you're going to find periods of time where, like you want something, big and truly memorable to happen, or maybe even iconic, and, nothing really does for a little while. I mean, you get there. Think basically Game of Thrones, only there actually more often than not is some payoff after a long period of time. Burn. Anyway. My point is, that's where we are right now in the Wano arc, is what I'm getting at. It makes things even a little more discerning, or disheartening, whatever, when it turns out it's going to be 2 weeks until the next chapter comes out, and the chapter ended on the way it did. It wasn't a bad ending. It's just, it's the sort of thing where, you're kind of left wanting more. And I do want more. Unfortunately, now I have to wait until, actually, it's going to be about Mother's Day weekend around the time the next One Piece chapter comes out. Which, actually, is a decent segue into another thing I was going to talk about today. But, again, the whole mid-arc slump thing, that happens. It actually happens with any series, any show, or, whatever. I mean, since I've been reading One Piece, it's happened to me, plenty of times. The biggest one easily comes with Dressrosa. Of course, that arc, well, again, I've said this before, that arc is 104 chapters, roughly. So, that took roughly, that's essentially, actually, no, not 104. I think, it was well over 100. The point is, it took well over 2 years to get through. So, you could guess that there was a lot of mid-arc slump there. Which is even, keep in mind, that's 2 years if there are no breaks. Which, unfortunately, there were. And to make matters even worse, they're the kind of breaks where Oda, the, creator of One Piece, actually had to take, several weeks off because it was around that time he was going through some health complications. Like, he had to have, a tonsillectomy at one point. Keep in mind, I've said this before as well, Ikiro Oda only gets 3 hours of sleep a day. Seriously, he wakes up at 5 in the morning and works on the series until 2 o'clock in the morning. Again, 3 hours of sleep. He actually tells his people to lock him in his work office so he can just focus on what he's supposed to do. That's how dedicated he is. I guess whether you're a creator of One Piece or the fan of One Piece, it comes with both its blessings and its burdens. Oh well. It is what it is. Although the only thing that really does bother me, and again, this is a pet peeve of mine when it comes to reading One Piece, it's that sometimes they tell you that One Piece is going to be on break next week, and sometimes they don't, and I legitimately thought they weren't going to be on break. That's what bothers me. I only found out yesterday because one of the people I'm subscribed to on YouTube is called the Grand Line Reviews, and the guy reviews each manga chapter every week, and so that's how I know. So, yeah. Man, I hate it when that happens. I think the worst time that ever happened was after I read chapter 783, which, you know, I should probably get into talking about one thing about One Piece that a lot of fans have been loving about it for years. It was during the Enies Lobby arc, where Oda introduced, or One Piece introduced a power-up for Luffy, the main protagonist, for something called Gears. They're essentially a power-up that, at the time, actually came with a bit of a detriment to it. It basically goes second gear. There've been 3 gears so far: second, third, and fourth. And an interesting fact about second gear and fourth gear, is that it was chapter 387 where second gear was introduced. And if that number sounds familiar, I just mentioned 783. That's when gear fourth was mentioned. It's the English dubbing does second gear, third gear, and fourth gear, where in Japan they say it in reverse. It's gear second, gear third, gear fourth. But they mean the same thing. So from now on, expect me to say any of those things interchangeably. But again, they mean the exact same thing. So, like tomato, tomato. Same thing. And the worst one was easily when fourth gear was introduced, because, again, he only said it, the chapter ended, 2-week wait. That was the longest 2 weeks of my life, let me tell you. And again, that happened during Dressrosa. So, yes, you could tell I was feeling annoyed. You know what I think I'll do? I'll put links in the descriptions as to what chapter each gear was introduced. Even though fourth gear was introduced in 783, you actually see it in 784. So don't worry, I'll be sure to put chapter 784 in the description. But you can check them out for yourself. Although the intricacies of fourth gear are so vast that I need to show you multiple chapters for that, but that's for a different day. Anyway, right, I was going to talk about the other thing I was going to talk about, and that was, I said Mother's Day was coming out, and, watching the draft last night, which is awesome, because the Cowboys finally got us a couple of picks. I'll get to that in a second. The Mother's Day thing comes from during the draft pick that Oakland Raiders, I think it was former Oakland Raider Jamar Woodson said, Mother's Day is coming up, take an opportunity to call your mom, love your mom, take her out to dinner, do something for your mom, something nice. Which, I'm definitely going to do that, so thank you for the reminder. I now have a reminder to do so. So, on the very, very slim chance Jamar Woodson is, watching this, thank you for the reminder, and I will be happy to do that. It's actually something I need to do. So, thank you. And now we can actually get into the Cowboys picks. So, in the second round, with the 58th pick in the draft, we picked a defensive tackle from UCF, or University of Central Florida, Tristan Hill. Now, personally, I like that pick. It's a very nice pick. It's defense. Defense does win championships, and our defense really started coming into its own last year. And this is a great opportunity for young Tristan Hill to make a name for himself. Do well in that defense, and I think he's gonna be a good pick. I like it very much so. And the other pick we had was the 90th pick in the draft from, actually, I do like this pick for a lot of reasons, but from Penn State University, I love that. I'll get to that in a second. And we got a guard named Connor McGovern. And I like that pick too. I like it because Zach Martin, our Pro Bowl guard, has been getting a little bit injury prone. And I think we may have found ourselves a decent replacement for him, if it comes to that. Personally, I hope they don't do anything with Connor Williams. Because, I mean, I get it, Connor is undersized. But, you know, I like his stance on, you know, what he thinks about bullying and stuff like that. And, you know, the fact that he's not the biggest guy, you know, it's a nice metaphor for someone who doesn't like bullies. I think Connor Williams and Connor McGovern are going to be great starting offensive guards at some point for the Dallas Cowboys. So, overall, I like both of the picks we got last night. I like them a lot. I can't wait to see them in action. But we'll get to that, you know, when we get to that. So, yeah. Overall, the draft has been, you know, I like watching the draft. I like seeing who picks what. It's been a lot of fun. I really don't have anything bad or negative to say about any of the draft picks that I've seen. Really from anyone. But again, it boils down to the fact, and I mentioned this yesterday too, that, you know, whether or not we like these, you know, the person that's drafted or the team they're drafted to or whatever, in the end, at some point or another, we actually do want these people to, you know, succeed. I mean, they worked all their lives to get to the National Football League. You know, you want to see them progress. You want to see them thrive. You want to see them do well. And if they end up doing better than what a lot of people were saying, that's even more incentive to root for them. So, yeah. In the end, I'm always optimistic when it comes to the draft for any team, really. I mean, again, I hate the Eagles as an organization, but, you know, I hope whoever they got, you know, I hope they succeed in some capacity. Whether it's for the Eagles or maybe their trade or, you know, whatever. Although, speaking of trades, I started laughing when Josh Rosen from the Cardinals got traded to Miami. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing bad against Miami or anything. It's just Cliff Kingsbury got himself Kyler Murray, and now it's really the case. And I know for a fact Kyler Murray is going to thrive. I hope he does. I mean, again, I hope a lot of these people who are drafted do, you know, succeed. But Kyler Murray is someone really special. I think he's going to be great. You know, again, he may not be very tall, which turned off a lot of people who want him. But you know what? Some of the strongest people I've ever known are not as tall as I am, not even close. And that never stopped them. In fact, several of those people are among the 16 of the left, my teammates who I look to for strength. You know, some of those people, they aren't very tall, and they're some of the strongest people I've ever known. And I was more than privileged to have them as my teammates. So, always remember, strong people come in all shapes and sizes. It's the strength of character and size of their metaphorical heart, you know, in here and in here, that truly makes them special. Remember that. And it's going to help you. It's going to help you one day for that. Oh, I'm starting to get kind of emotional about that. I'm not going to lie. I better stop before I get too out of hand. So, like, favorite, share, and hit that subscribe button. I can really use the support on YouTube. Follow me on the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. As always, I'm very humbled to make this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm hoping that we all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Saturday. And remember, if you guys don't want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. And I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.